Hey, what's up, people? Piz out here, and continuing my series, File 13, in which I discuss cult, sleaze, exploitation, movies that are so bad they are good. Today I've got a humdinger to bring to you guys. I'm talking about the infamous Nail Gun Massacre. And let me just start this review by thanking my buddy B Jr. from Endurance Productions, who hooked me up with a copy of this. He was like, dude, do you own Nail Gun Massacre? And I was like, no. He said, dude, I'll send you a copy. It is cheese, sleaze, exploitation to the absolute max. I'd seen the movie many years ago. I think probably on VHS. And I just remember it being really bad. And rewatching it, it is the epitome of everything that File 13 truly is. The movie begins with a woman who's being gang raped by this crew of construction thugs. We then immediately move forward, and there is a camo-clad, biker helmet-wearing person running around with a nail gun, picking off the guys who gang raped this woman in the beginning of the movie, one by one. And, oh man, where to begin with Nail Gun Massacre? Let's start with the acting and the dialogue. Very early on in the movie, we are treated to a sequence where a guy's laying in bed with his girlfriend, wife, what have you. This beautiful blonde who, of course, is topless, and the camera just loves to linger over her breasts and shoot close-ups of her breasts and just long, extended close-up shots of this woman's breasts. And he's like, oh, honey, I've got to go. I've got to go cut wood with somebody out in the woods. And the woman's like, you'd rather go cut wood with your buddy than stay home and play with these? Talking about her breasts. And she's like, they're so lonely. They want your affection. They want love. I thought we were going to stay home and play doctor all day long. I thought we were going to play organ transplant where you're the donor and I'm the recipient. On and on. I'm talking about like a 10-minute, solid 10-minute sequence of her talking about how lonely and unappreciated her breasts are and how they need affection while the camera lovingly lingers on her breasts. It is true gratuity, it is... It's one of those sequences you watch, and like, the dialogue is so bad, and the acting is so bad, yet there's, just boobs. Clearly the focus is not on anything but the boobs, and the acting and the dialogue is so bad. It's almost as if the director was like, I know there's nobody listening or paying attention to anything other than this woman's boobs that I'm just shooting close-ups of and lingering on for an extended period of time, to the point where I'm just going to write the worst dialogue. And I don't care how it's acted, just boobs. This 10 minutes is about boobs. Half of the dialogue in the movie, you can't really understand it because there's so much either extraneous noise in the film, or the soundtrack is so much louder than the dialogue. And really, we're not missing anything in the dialogue. There's nothing that's being said that we're missing, that, we're not going to be able to follow what's going on in the movie because we've missed this dialogue. It's just hilarious, the fact that there's so much extraneous noise going on. It's like the movie's being shot in a wind tunnel, or like there's a tornado happening just right over here off frame. There's so much noise, you can't hear dialogue. Or when there's, like, they're inside a house or something, the soundtrack is so loud, it's just like, and just the soundtrack, you can't hear anything. The killer has this, some sort of voice changing thing inside their helmet, that gives them this deep, synthy, robotic voice, which they're like the killer's spewing these one-liners. Half of them, again, you can't hear because there's insane extraneous noise, the soundtrack's too high, and on top of that, you've got this, think of Bane in The Dark Knight, but Bane like mumbling. That is like the sound of the killer in the Nail Gun Massacre. The only thing you can catch, like a little quip here and there, like nailed it, or stick around, stuff like that. And nail gunnings, lots and lots of nail gun killings. We've got nails to the head, the throat, the hands, the arms. One lucky gentleman gets nail gunned to the penis. We've got the town sheriff who is aided by the local coroner. And the sheriff, oh my God, he's got like this dime store plastic awful badge on and like this shoulder holster for his gun that looks totally uncomfortable. There's a sequence where they find this body like in town somewhere, in between these two buildings. And I'm guessing the owner of one of the buildings like just sort of walks into frame, and he's clearly a non-actor, and he's like, "What is that going on around here?" And the sheriff is like, "I don't know. Bad stuff." And like they get a call, and the sheriff and the coroner run off, and the guy's like, "Hey, what are you gonna do about this stiff? You can't just leave this stiff here on my property." And the cop's like, "She ain't going nowhere," and leaves. The script, according to the director, was about 25 to 30 pages. 25 to 30 pages. So there are sequences, especially toward the end of the film, that just scream, we're padding this thing out as much as we possibly can because there's really nothing else here for us to do. So we have these almost excruciatingly long padding sequences that just really go nowhere and are just, dialogue, just like, like the coroner is calling some friend of his to get so that he can profile the killer, which goes absolutely nowhere, but hey, it eats up like 5, 6, 7 minutes of screen time. It's not even an hour and a half long movie, but it feels much, much longer. Did I mention that the killer drives around this huge hearse in this town? Talk about inconspicuous. A huge yellow hearse. And they run around in, like I said, this camouflage outfit, biker helmet, some sort of, I guess, a CO2 canister on their back, huge nail gun. They just walk, the killer just sort of walks around, or the killer's like just standing somewhere. People walk right by them, or the killer walks right past them, and they just don't even notice it, don't even notice them. Just a guy or someone in camo and a biker helmet carrying a nail gun around, just, yeah, the Nail Gun Massacre, an infamous movie. You have to give it to the movie. Or the filmmaker, which I think he really didn't know any better. This was not a guy who was sort of a trained, seasoned filmmaker. He just had the audacity to make the movie that he wanted to make, that was just loaded with the things that I'm assuming he really liked, which is nail guns, boobs, people getting killed, more boobs, really long, extended, clumsy sex scenes, just lots and lots of silly, cheesy, sleazy, gratuitous, everything. It's File 13 to the nth degree, and I love it. I love Nail Gun Massacre. It is one of those movies you just kind of have to see to believe. It is pure amateur hour. It's a mess, but it's such a beautiful mess. It's kind of like a Monet. From a distance, it looks like a mess, but the closer you get to it, the more detail sort of comes alive. Only in the Monet painting for the Nail Gun Massacre, it would be a mess, but the closer you got to it, the more detailed, like, there would be like a set of boobs in it, and it would just be the closer you got, the more detailed the boobs got. That's the Monet for Nail Gun Massacre. Just boobs. So yeah, if you guys have seen Nail Gun Massacre, please let me know what you think of it in the comment section below. And until next time, take it easy. Peace.